the tertiary forest. Sometimes they're saying 5 to 10 times is higher, and it supports the indigenous people which lives along the coastal, and it supports the biodiversity and the fisheries also very important thing. More than all these things, they are impacting on the climate very much. You all know this thing. This is a basic information. So
The tertiary
when we are
forests
developing
sometimes
a
they
blue
think
carbon project, so what are the things are key components when we are thinking of we are bringing some projects, like in Sundarban or Bittarganika or Koringa, Pichoram or any other places in India. So these are the key commons we have to think on that. First, we have to select the site where what is actually going on. We have to develop the baseline for that, and historically how the system is getting changed, overall ecosystem like that. Suppose we have to select the system, how is the carbon, what is the threat, how the system is degrading or restoration going successfully. That is the first thing we have to do. Then second thing is like we have to start studying the feasibility, like whether this work is really going to give some benefit, or it's going to give a benefit to the communities who's living there, and how they're going to benefit out of that, or how much carbon we are going to get out of this project. That is a basic. With all the things, we are going to cover the PDTs. So, like when we are developing PDTs, we have to make sure that which methodology we are going to do. There are common methodologies are available, like where gold standard or ACR. Other methodologies also available, but most of the projects are in falling under Vera. That is 0033 or 0007. Many other methodologies also upcoming right now. It's working on. Then fourth comment, we have to think very carefully, like digital environments, like all the things when you want to study, mean presently we cannot go. So engaging the monitoring with reporting verification with the earlier satellite image, like a historical satellite image we have to collect, and field condition, present condition we have to do. With that, we have to run the carbon model with the field corrected data, either the carbon pools, AGP, PGP, or SOC, all the things to be included. Then we can develop one model top. Once we develop, we are identified how much the carbon sequestration, then we can go for the issuance of the carbon credit based on particular methodology. This much carbon sequestration potential is there. We are going to validate and verify. Then we are going to bring it to the market. So once it's gone to the market, we have to think in a benefit of long term. How this is going to give the benefit for the ecosystem as well as the local community. We have to tell them very transparent way, very clear way. That is key steps for the developing a blue carbon project in every ecosystem or any, whether it's a mangrove, or seagrass, or tarima. This is the base thing. Next thing is what are the challenges we are facing? Like when I'm telling about this, all the main component, what is the main major problem is like, for example, if you take a Sundarban, we have to collect the historical data, like, but, whole year we can't collect it. Sometimes the monsoon hits, truly clouded image will be there, so we have to wait for the other season to collect. Then compensating that methodology, one season we have to compensate. Then second thing, when we're going to the field work, we have to go in a way like if I want to go to 10 days field work, mean at least 20 days it will expand because we cannot predict the season in the coastal area. Like sometimes it will be raining, sometimes it will be very dry, sometimes other issues also will come. So the cost will be much more higher than the other green cover. Stakeholder coordination within, then we are arranging through some coastal communities or governments or investors mean they all to be gathered one place at a time, and we have to make sure that it is going. That is very challenging to us, especially in a South Asian country when you are talking different languages, their culture also differs. So the things coordinating, bringing them everything in one umbrella, it's really problem. And legal uncertainties, like some land will be like a belongs to some local people, some private land will be there. So getting the rights also will be a very challenging one. When long-term risk you are taking, like if we all planted the mangroves is growing well, so it's all very successful. But suddenly the erosion started happening, the mangroves have started falling, like in some places in Sundarban also it used to happen. Like some places sea level rises comes and naturally degradation also occurs some places. So those are the long-term challenges we are facing. Then opportunity wise, when you're thinking like that, what is the when we are going to plant the mango, they're going to give the sequestration some carbon or seagrass and all that, what they're going to do. But how it's going to mitigate the climate change? That is the one opportunity we are going to do. So if you are planning any proposed project, if you are taking like, so I'm telling like I'm Bitharkanika, I'm going to plant this much of mangroves, so it will give you this much of carbon sequestration. It can be offset in somewhere other places where they're going to release the carbon dioxide. So in a way, like they will be playing opposite roles too. So once they planting the mango, that also bring the biodiversity back. When I was doing PhD, I understood like a Pichavaram, there are places where the degradation actually occurs. What happened, that local people who depend upon the particular mangroves, they are all started moving to industries job rather than going to fishes. So what happened, when they restore the mangroves, the wildlife back. I mean, that fisheries, the streams, crabs, everything is back. But still, the people going for the factory because they adapted to the system. I mean, to the permanent factory jobs or other industry jobs. Again, bringing them is very, very challenging. Even you are bringing back the biodiversity and the silence, everything to the back to the ecosystem. Still, it is challenging. That one is sustainable livelihoods. Yes, this is the one thing. When we are developing the ecosystem, it is also providing the local community for the like fishing, or there will be what you call UK tourism also will be enriched in that. That is boost up the local economy. Then fourth thing is like a climate finance. When these credits are coming to the open market, then market people can access and get the benefit of them. Once these are all developed, then based on that we can extrapolate this methodology or output to the other places. That will help us to build a policy stuff. These are all the some opportunities present in the current scenario. These are the major existing standards is present as of now. So most of them falls under all the methods I have given here. Then you can go to that slide. With that, I will give some examples based on a case studies, like some places how it's worked, some places why it failed. We can discuss on it. This is one of the project, New Oregon Wetland project. It's in US. This project actually it's based on the ACR, American Carbon Registry Project. They have assessed how much carbon in the particular areas over a period of time, and they have calculated finally once this project is sanctioned, they have about to issue the carbon credit. There was an uncertainty due to the methane and nitrous oxide estimates. Plastic, when they go for that, they were excluded those things. So that to be accounted, then only we can issue that thing. So once they have worked on the new blue carbon project, they have to assess every part of it. This is the one, the drawback and the challenges I mentioned earlier too. So with this thing, they developed a new more models, including all other carbon dioxide, other than the GHG gas emissions, like including methane, nitrous oxide also in this project. So second one is like the California shrub mangrove. This is a mangrove. It's actually not like a very bushy, very tall tree mangrove. It's a shrub only. They have estimated the over period of time how much the carbon sequestration occurs in that area. They estimated 2.84 billions of carbon dioxide in the century. So that is a potential of 4 to 6K per year at the carbon market rate. But this project had a problem like that. This is a shrub mango where they are not able to reach the maximum height like our Indian mangroves. Like in a deltoid mangroves is totally different from the shrub mangrove. Shrub mangroves mean you could see in a Gujarat side there will be a very less saline, a very high saline and very less fresh water is there. Those places mangroves are adapted to grow in a shrub. But its carbon sequestration potential is not above the ground. It will be storing most of the mangrove, carbon in the below ground one. They are in the soil. But in other places, like in a deltaic region, Kaveri Delta or Krishna Godavari or Ganga, those places you can see like they will be storing more in the above ground where the giant trees used to be growing. This was the one of the project they have sanctioned. It was successfully implemented. That paper also got published. Then this is a well-renowned right now. It's a trending project. It's a Miko Bajama project, mangrove restoration and reforestation in Kenya. It is going on with the local people in that area. They have built on a consortium with the local people, Cambridge, and Flat Bio, they have included all of them. And with that, they have developed on a project on that. In the project, the area was 117 hectares. But one problem is like they have included AGP, BGP, but they didn't include SOC part. This was the one problem in that particular project. Still, it is under discussion only, many of them in an implement stage. So with all this thing, right now, where I'm working is like a specific island where Tunga and some of those places. We have identified like some places like, where the actual degradation occurs. So we can go for the restoration again. There, it is all in the preliminary study, pre-feasibility only it is there. And we have identified in a remote island also there is a degradation is going on. But it's not a man-made or something, it's a naturally degrading some cases. So when I was studying the mangroves, what I understood like then the whole DME digital MRV process, that process is very key common. Like if I use a high resolution image, then I can yield more carbon. Low resolution, I can it depends changing one. So mapping, change detection, emission, and overall estimation. What values I'm using, like suppose if it's a specific element means I have to use the specific element within a specific value where that AGP, BGP, SOC separately I have to use them. Similarly, when based on the estimation only we are going to report. So it will be synthesizing how much the carbon sequestration in the particular area. With that only they're going to issue the carbon credits potential in there. So DMRV, the process is a very important one. And when the carbon market hits, means we have to be very clear, like, that area should be automated because we cannot sit and do every area for the mapping of the entire stretch like that. And once we automated the entire things, mean it will be going by itself. It will be calculating the all the carbon pool like five things, five carbon pools, five carbon separately. It will be calculating and the overall estimation it will be giving. With that, we can go for the PDT development that will be telling the actual story. So with all the information, I'm seeing that future of the blue carbon ecosystem market is like people are discussing more about mangroves, seagrasses, tidal masses everywhere. It is there. It has great carbon storage potential. We have to estimate properly. Highest accuracy. We have to calculate everything they are saying. But when this goes to the next level of things, I'm seeing that as a coastal biodiversity critics. Like, some places they have already started working on them. Suppose mangrove seagrass beds, if they restored me, they will be calculating AGB, BGB, SOC. They're telling so much of carbon is there in the first place. But there are benefits. Some birds will be coming back, some animals will be coming back, some fish, crabs, bird, other things, other animals also will come back. How you going to account those things? Those are also other benefits. They will be telling it. So they're right now they're in the development phase in the current market and they're talking about like a project, how they're going to develop it and how they're going to conserve it, how they're going to put it in the market, like, what are the values for that market? If I'm telling you, I see one tiger in the Sundarban, what is the value? For one tiger is present, there are 100 hectares of Phoenix palmarosa is there, I can say. So like that, I'm saying Heritaria foam is 20 hectare, Heritaria Ritor is another 20 hectare, like I'm telling them. So one animal is important for the other parameters in the ecosystem. Those things also will be accounted in the future. They are all processed in the right now. So second thing is the coral credits. Like when they discuss about the coastal credit, they are now jumping into the ocean also. They are discussing coral credit. That if a country has Gulf of Mannar or Gujarat areas like Bay. So those places the corals present, they are telling like they're going to for restoration, this much coral restored means that will be attracting how much biodiversity. Based on that, they're going to issue the credits for that biodiversity in that area. These are all right now progressing point of view in the next level of carbon market. So I'm feeling like in India kind of country, there is a great scope, like, great, almost 5,000 kilometers of kilometers square of mangroves, 517 kilometers square of sea grasses and salt marshes also properly estimated, need to be estimated. So it has a huge potential for the blue carbon stock thing. So once if they started paying for all the carbon stock, mean approximately to reach 9.6 billion USD. Right now they're estimating so. So with this only, if we have proper methodology, properly studied accounting carbon stocks, means then it will all benefit will be reaching the coastal community. That is what I feel. With that, I conclude that. Thank you for everyone for giving the opportunity. If you have any question, you can ask me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your presentation. I hope students have learned a lot of new things from your presentation. Now, I'll request the students if you have any questions, please raise your questions. If anyone of you have any questions.
I think it's a post lunch, so most of them may be busy.
Their brain gone inert.
I think no question is there, but if
Yeah.
they have any question later, I'll definitely.
Yeah, you could, anytime you could mail me, you can reach in
Yeah.
LinkedIn.
Yes, LinkedIn or through email, we'll
Yeah.
send their questions, and I hope you will be help
Yeah.
us to answer this question in
Yeah.
future also.
Yeah.
So thank you again, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for the.
Our next participant or speaker is Dr. Anirban Akhan.
So I have one question for Dr. Selva. So if he's still
Yeah, I'm here, Sinchan. You could
yes.
ask me.
So basically, all the blue carbon projects or the carbon credit projects that are, going nowadays are involving a degraded landscape to a restored landscape. Most of the carbon credits revolves around that. But if we are looking about something that is already conserved, and like the Sundarban mangrove ecosystem, which is already falls under the conserved scenario. So there is also something called, if we can show something called improved management in this regard, improved management scenario. So is it possible for the, this kind of conservative ecosystem to also fall under the carbon credit category?
That is called avoided degradation. Degradation. You know that some places in I could say examples in some places in Philippines too, because some places they will be restored, some places are conservation. Some very few places avoided degradation. Suppose the degradation rate is 10 hectare per year, if it is going in a rate, suddenly you reducing to 5 hectare, then next year 2 hectare, then next year it is no degradation. So that is also will be considered as a one of the credit offset programs. Some places they are taking that into serious consideration for the they're giving to the given PTTs. I have seen that. They are considering that also in one of the parameters. That is called avoided degradation. So once it's reaching zero degradation, next step is to naturally regeneration, or we can go for the restoration. That's how it works.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you for your thoughts.
Thank you, sir, once again. So our next speaker, Dr. Anirban Akhan, and he will be speaking on colors of carbon to amazing mangroves. Dr. Akhand is currently a postdoctoral research fellow at the Center for Nature Positive Solutions, School of Science, Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology, University, Melbourne, Australia. He is a marine and freshwater biogeochemist with a specialization in carbonate chemistry of coastal waters and freshwater wetlands. His research further spans blue carbon and teal carbon ecosystem, including mangrove. Dr. Akhand has published more than 70 peer-reviewed scientific research articles in high-impact journals, including Nature Communications and Global Change Biology. He held postdoctoral research position in India, Hong Kong, Japan, and Australia developing solutions for the protections and restoration of marine and freshwater ecosystem aiming to combat climate change. This brief introduction, now I will request Dr. Akhan to start his presentation.
Right, thank you, Tuhin. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Thank you for the nice introduction. I am Anirban Akhund and I am a research scholar. And I'm very happy to be today because my PhD supervisor, Professor Sugata Hajra sir, is there. And today I am going to tell about the colors of carbon to amazing mangroves. This is a pathway. I will go through the slides. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the country, the Uiburung and Bunurung groups of Eastern Kulin Nation, on which our RMIT works, and I respect their elders past and present. I extend my respect to all indigenous people of the Australia. This presentation has three parts. First, I will explain the colors of carbon. Second, I will focus on blue carbon science and mangroves. Third, I will share some amazing facts about mangroves. Now we are starting the part 1, that is the colors of carbon. The title here, Carbon in Color, Metaphors Shaping Science, Policy and Imagination, is from a perspective paper I have involved in. The idea is that using colors as metaphors influences how we think about climate solutions and storage in different compartments of nature. Red carbon reflects the biological activity on snow and ice, reducing surface albedo. Green carbon in forests and soils represents terrestrial carbon sequestration. Teal carbon is carbon stored in freshwater wetlands and peatlands. Black carbon originates from incomplete combustion and includes shoots and char. Blue carbon is stored in vegetated coastal ecosystems such as mangroves, seagrasses, and tidal marshes. I will come into details later. Brown carbon comprises light absorbing organic aerosols in the atmosphere. So, why we code carbon? What is the necessity of coding the carbon with the colors? Carbon color coding helps simplify a complex carbon cycle. These colors are communication tools, not a formal scientific categories. It is noteworthy. They help people remember where carbon is stored or how it behaves. They can also influence research attention, funding, and policy action. Carbon colors are metaphors because carbon can move between ecosystems and change levels. It is not a static system, and this coding is not a static. Now we move to part 2. This is our carbon category of interest for today, especially, that is blue carbon. This slide shows some beautiful pictures of the three main types of ecosystems that makes up blue carbon sinks. Mangroves, again today's main focus. These are trees and shrubs that grows along coasts in salty water. They form dense forests at the edge of the sea grasses. These are underwater or intertidal grasses that form meadows in shallow coastal waters. They are flowering plants that live sometimes completely submerged and sometimes in intertidal zone. Salt marshes, these are grassy, swampy areas found in the intertidal zone. They often have salt tolerant grasses and plants, and usually occur in sheltered areas like estuaries. This is a fact sheet about the blue carbon, just for the introduction. So blue carbon ecosystems occupy about 0.2% of the ocean surface. It's a very little area in terms of the whole ocean, but contribute about 50% of the carbon burial in marine sediments. Whereas the whole ocean absorbs about a quarter of human carbon dioxide emissions. Blue carbon ecosystems are valuable because they support climate mitigation, coastal protection, biodiversity, and fisheries, and many other ecosystem and provisioning services. This figure compares carbon stocks and sequestration across mangroves, salt marshes, and seagrasses. Mangroves often store very large carbon stocks because of deep soils and woody biomass. Salt marshes and seagrasses also store substantial carbon, mainly in sediments. Blue carbon ecosystems can accumulate carbon much faster per area than many terrestrial forests. Now I move to the third part, that is that is from blue carbon science to amazing facts on mangroves. This cartoon is posted by our Center for Nature Positive Solutions on the World Mangrove Day. You may check our LinkedIn page. The first fact, mangroves are among the most carbon rich forests in the tropics, as I already told. A study of 25 Indo-Pacific forests found an average of 1023 tons of carbon per hectare. This number is a study average but not a value for every mangrove forest, although it is a very significant value. Between 49 and 98% of the carbon is stored in the waterlogged soil. In some locations, these deep soils have preserved carbon for thousands of years. Fact 2, some mangroves appear to give live birth. Although this is a metaphor, their seeds begin germinating while still attached to the parent tree. The young seedlings develops into a long structure called a propagule. After falling, the propagule may float for weeks to months. This allows mangroves to colonize suitable coastlines far from the parent tree. The Sundarbans extends across India and Bangladesh and covers about 10,000 square kilometers. This is, of course, not a very astonishing fact for us who are from Kolkata or West Bengal. Still, around 60% of lies in Bangladesh and 40% in India. It is recognized as the world's largest contiguous mangrove forest. It is also the world's only mangrove habitat naturally supporting Bengal's tigers. Local honey collectors enter these forests for their livelihoods despite the genuine risk of tiger attacks. The next fact is mangroves reduce waves and storm surges through their roots, trunks, and vegetation. A study examined villagers affected by the 1999 Odisha supercyclone. Its model estimated that surviving mangroves reduced death by about two-thirds in those villages. Globally, mangroves are estimated to prevent over 65 billion US dollar in flood damage and protect 15 million people annually. Mangroves use several remarkable strategies to survive in salty water. They are either salt excluders or secretors. Avicennia species remove excess salt through special glands in their leaves. When the water evaporates, visible salt crystals can remain on the leaf surface. Mangrove roots also prevent most seawater salt from entering the plant. These adaptations allow mangroves to survive where most land plants cannot. The next fact is mangrove plants have long provided food, drinks, and traditional medicines. One study tested tea made from Seriops decandra leaves with 30 participants. The tea received an average acceptability score of 8.32 out of 9. Nipa palm sap is used to produce sugar, syrup, vinegar, and fermented drinks. Mangroves are often imagined as a short trees or shrubs, but some grow remarkably tall. A global study identified mangrove stands in Gabon, Africa, reaching about 62.8 meters. That is approximately the height of a 20-story building. Field measurements have also recorded individual trees between 62 and 65 meters. Despite their global importance, only about 70 true mangrove species are recognized, which is a small group. So, the 63-meter giants is from a very small plant group. This is the mangrove killifish, Cryptolebias marmoratus. It is one of a very few vertebrates capable of self-fertilization. One individual can produce offspring that are genetically very similar. When its habitat dries, it can survive outside water for weeks. It breathes through its skins and may survive out of water for up to 66 days. Mudskippers are fish that spend much of their active time outside water. They use their strong pectoral fins to move across mud and climb obstacles. They can breathe air, but their breathing surfaces must remain moist. Archer fish, another fish from the mangrove ecosystem, hunt insects by shooting accurate jets of water from below the surface. They must overcome the optical distortion caused by light bending at the water surface. Along Malaysia's Selangor River, thousands of fireflies gather on riverside trees. One important host tree is a mangrove, Soneraceae cassularis. These fireflies coordinate their flashes during courtship communication. Entire trees can appear to pulse like illuminated Christmas trees. This behavior is spectacular and limited to only a few places of the earth, although the popular claim that this happens in only 2 places in the earth is a myth. This is the end of my presentation, and I work in this multidisciplinary team on behalf of myself and on behalf of my team. I thanks wholeheartedly to the authority for inviting me today. And again, it is a special occasion because my PhD supervisor, Professor Sugato Sir, is also invited, and I am eagerly waiting to hear his talk. This is my contact, and you may contact me if you would like for further information or any collaboration or anything. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Dr. Akhand, for this informative presentation. Now, again, I will ask students if they have any questions. You can ask directly to Dr. Akhand.
So one thing I should like to note that the today's presentation I kept all the technical details and my expertise, which is on biogeochemistry. I kept them apart from this presentation, because when Dr. Tuhin told me to for this about this presentation, then I thought that I will present something which is very interesting and easy to understand for non-experts and all students of all grades. That was my uh, objective for today's presentation.
This is mostly the UG as well as the PG students from geography background or geoinformatics background they are attending. So it is always better to for them to give some presentation which is not very formal. So your presentation is very informative. I think they have learned a lot about different colors of mangrove, especially. Uh, and also different ecosystem services of mangrove, like mangrove tea, which is a kind of new thing for them. So thank you again for this informative presentation. Uh, okay. So now our next speaker is Professor Sugato Hajra.
Before going to the next speaker, may I ask Anirban, because I'm not getting him in my this thing, I'm in surrounding. Now, Anirban, do you remember our field trips to Andaman? Though you have not participated, but Anirban Mukherjee and Sudeep Manna was there with me, with Chandip Giri.
Yeah.
And we could locate very tall mangroves of Bruguera and others which we find only in Sundarban, like maybe 6 to 10 meters high, but there we are finding 60 to 50 meters high. So do you think that is only in Gabon in some exotic places they have these tall mangroves, or you have in
Yes,
certain
yes.
condition in Andaman you can have this? Yeah, what's your view?
So in Andaman, you told that how much is the height tentatively?
Yeah, it is 30 meter, 40 meters, because we are measuring with Sudeep's, rangefinder, and it is
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that in
Mm.
Gabon it is 62.5. That means it is the highest, tallest mangrove found. But yes, there are more mangroves like with different heights, of course.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
also today is a mangrove World Mangrove Day, so I talked about mangrove. But also I have seen seagrasses is
That's
could be
another area. Yeah.
very tall. So our
Yeah.
general idea is that mangrove is a shrub
Yeah,
and
that's from
small.
Sundarban mostly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Sundarban Bhitorkonika also is not
Bhitarkanika,
too
but
high.
heritage area literally is quite strong and high.
Yeah,
In Bhitarkanika. That also we
mm,
have done field work. Uh,
yeah,
you have seen. But
yes,
okay, not like Sundarban. Sundarban is quite smaller bank.
yeah. There are many predictive reasons.
Hmm, that is true.
Actually, Dr. Professor, just to add one more point, as you told that Bruguria junior is a
Hmm,
Bruguria cylindrica, both species very higher, 30 to 40 feet taller
right.
in the like some middle Andaman and the northern Andaman, especially where less
Yeah,
explored places.
yeah.
I've been to the places, but recently I'm hearing that when I'm working in other places in like East Africa and somewhere Philippines, they're also saying normal tree height is like a Bruguria species will be around 40-meter height, like they were saying.
Right.
So
So
I
that we
feel
have to
like,
check. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
but though I feel like my feeling is that island countries, island places, they start
Mangroves.
growing up and down. But where in the deltaic side, like in a Ganga, Kaveri,
Yeah, they cannot grow like
these
that.
are all very limited. And right
Hmm.
now, the Indian situation in there's so many dams were there, so the water is reaching there, and their growth also restricted many places, and especially Sundarbans, or Koringa, Bhitarkanika, other places too.
Hmm.
Yeah, another point is that salinity that is not related
Exactly.
to. I don't know whether it is related to height or not, but uh, I have found
No,
recently that in many places mangroves are growing in the totally fresh water, almost fresh water, less than 5
I
ppt.
will.
Yeah. So recently I got a paper in the current biology or the journal, I forgot the name of the journal. So they reported that in Amazon forest, the mangroves are growing in the totally fresh water. So the question now arises that whether they need salinity at all. So this is our a research question and a big research question.
Yeah, and
for the
wherever actually salinity definitely affects the height of the mangroves. I have studied my PhD thesis also have included where the
Okay.
high saline area where Abyssinia marina
Yeah.
conservation potential is lesser than where the fresh water comes like that, And as you told, the freshwater mangroves totally blocked in the from the saline waters. There are Mexican also some mangroves are there that we are writing paper on it right now. Mexican area.
Yeah.
Eritrea sonaracea, it can thrive also in freshwater
Yeah.
capillaries. Okay, thank you very much for the very exciting talk that you have given, and particularly the mangrove fish and the mud skippers and the flash flies. I'll check
Thank
with the
you.
sonaracea here
Yeah.
that we can develop a tourism destination with
Yeah. Yeah.
sonaracea in our Jila, those areas, the eastern
Yeah.
Sundaban. Great, well done.
Thank you, sir.
Mm.
May I stop sharing?
Yes, you can stop.
So Tuhin,
So now I
now
will,
you have
yeah.
to help me again to upload the slide, and let
Yes,
me
sir.
see. Where am I getting?
So click on share option and then click on entire screen.
Then the screen. Okay. No, but I have to go to this thing now. Oh, where is my presentation? This I will share. Can you see it?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay,
Just
then
you
I
have to
have to
make it
make it
full screen.
full screen. Where is that? Yeah. So is it okay? Visible to all?
Yes, it is visible.
The
So now I introduce you, and then you
yeah,
can
yeah.
start your presentation.
Do that introduction.
Yeah. So Professor Sugato Hajra will be presenting on mangrove health and sustainability in Sundarban's Delta, India. Professor Hajra, a geologist by profession, has been a professor and former director of the School of Oceanographic Studies at Jadavpur University, India. He has done pioneering research on biophysical impacts of climate change on the major ecological hotspot in India. Being the former Dean of the Faculty of Interdisciplinary Studies of Jadavpur University, Professor Hajra favors interdisciplinary research and has mentored over 40 PhD scholars. Professor Hajra was a member of the Indian Antarctic expedition in the year of 1996 and 97. He has been expert member of the West Bengal State Coastal Zone Management Authority and functioned as an expert member of the State Green Tribunal between 2022 and 2023. With this brief introduction, now I will request Professor Hazra to start his presentation. Sir, you can start your presentation.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to all. And a happy Mangrove Day, because after a long time, the globe is, celebrating that they have stopped the loss of mangroves and they have started gaining some mangrove. And even in India, in Gujarat and other areas where we had little mangroves, and also in Andhra Pradesh, quite a promising start has been seen with the plantation of mangroves that Professor Dr. Selvan also are quite aware of. And I'll be talking about this delta, that is the Ganga Brahmaputra Delta. And this is the mangrove forest, that upper part that we have cleared. Just only to ascertain that for sustainability of the deltaic mangrove, so I have named it as a sustainability in the Sundarban Delta, because north is the Pacific type mangroves or these Andaman island type mangroves. that they need three things. One is the groundwater, the tide, the sea water, of course, and the river flow. So the deltas are grown in the river area, and these are the deltaic lobes where this mangrove colonize them. And this 10,000 square kilometer of mangroves that Dr. Akhand has just told, that these are these areas. The bigger chunk is in Bangladesh, and major part of our mangroves we have cleared from the colonial times, and this last 40% of the mangrove is remaining, but they are not in the good health. I mean, they're in a very constrained situation now. So I'll explore with this question that why the Bangladesh mangroves are taller than us. You can see that as for carbon and other things, we need to find in deltaic mangroves the above ground biomass. And this is the last estimate that we could find from 2019 Global Mangrove Data, DAC, that in the Bangladesh part, you have quite a big area of high biomass mangrove. The high biomass range is, say, 4 to 1 megagram per hectare. That means 421 tons per hectare. And it is a large area of, say, around 5,000, 4,000 square kilometers. So these are the heritage rich area, the red one. And the lower part, lower this thing with lower biomass is around 457 megagram, 0.457, so less than 1. In contrast to that, our lower part, the blue area, is much higher, but it is also 0.457, but our high area are these red patches, less disturbed mangroves, are only 119 tons per hectare or megagram per hectare. That it is 1/4 of the Sundarban, Bangladesh Sundarban. But then you can ask that what is the reason for that? One of my, students that Tuin Bhadra is now, who is conducting the seminar now, in 2014, he has done a pioneering work just to indicate that, look, our freshwater flow is going through the Hooghly Bhagirathi system, and that is 120 kilometers west of Sundarbans. So it is not reaching Sundarban directly. And another river called Ichamoti, which was supposed to flow through India and Bangladesh through this area, that is also disconnected at Majdia. And like that, he could identify from his field work and satellite studies that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 11 places where all these distributaries of the Bhagirathi and Ganges were now disconnected. So actually our Sundarban don't get any fresh water now direct. That is a difficult situation compared to Bangladesh. That in Hooghly you have a general flow of 1100 cubic per second. Compared to that, Bangladesh gets 25,000 cubic per second because of the Brahmaputra flow. So that actually might have created the huge wealth of mangroves and its above ground biomass and its carbon, maybe, and also for its credit. But that we are deprived of. So what is the result of that? That is another very interesting study that one of my research students that did, that in last 20 years of, say, 2000 to 2020, Sundarban has lost around 110 square kilometer land area from the mangrove islands. These are the mangrove islands. And their loss is quite proportional to the increase or decrease of the rate of sea level rise. That he has proved and published. You can find this publication in remote sensing, 2001. But that proves two things: that we are unable to conserve the mangrove area. Here we cannot, here we have all tigers here, not human civilization or human settlements. So you cannot have embankments that you have done in Sagar or Pathar Pratima or any other areas. But they are also losing land, but here the land loss is much higher than the western part, which is getting the Hooghly water or sediments. But very little mangroves are remaining in Sagar or Pathar Pratima or in Mosuni Islands, but they are losing land. So one of the crises of sustainability of Sundarban mangroves is they are losing land very fast. It's number one. That is the availability of water that I was telling, and how the salinity goes up to say 35 ppt in Shagardeep, or around 30 ppt in Fraserganj. So all these stations that we have seen. And this is one of the map that we are trying to make with Samantha leading the team in TASE, that project that we did on sustainability on Delta. Here we could find this area of the Sundarban mangroves is quite highly saline. That is 25 to 30 decisiemens per meter. So it is only mangroves can survive in this kind of soil salinity. I'm not talking about the water salinity. And the same Shavanta and his team did a very interesting study with a futuristic modeling with cellular automata, that how the mangroves are degrading. Say in 2001 it was 2072 square kilometer, it was down to 2002 square kilometer in 2011, down to 1991 in 2020, and he has modeled that it will be down to 19,425, and then 7 was nine, not 19,000, it's 2011, it was 2002 square kilometer, it was 1991 square kilometer, it will be down up to 1942 square kilometer, and it will be 1768. And during the same time, the saline blank area, that are the barren lands within the mangrove patches, barren patches within the mangrove forest, will increase from 37 square kilometer to 330 square. So these are the some snapshots of young matured forest of Sundarban. These are the old matured forest with some blank areas, and the saline blank is the left hand side, you can see, and the very shrubby kind of mangrove and the dwarf mangroves. That is the speciality of Sundarban. That due to the hypersaline conditions, the mangroves are unable to grow like the giant mangroves Dr. Akund was talking about. It is reverse to that. These are the Lilliput mangroves. Even the plantations cannot grow up to a very big height. So one of the major reasons that we could understand, it has been also, you can study Samantha and others' paper in remote sensing, that all the trends of mangrove health degradation between 2000 to 2020 of the EVI or the NDVI values, these are monotonously decreasing. That means health is diminishing, degrading gradually, and this corresponds to the spatial distribution. It is less degrading to the eastern side or western side, where you are getting the fresh water from Hooghly, but it is degrading maximum in the central part of the Sundarban area, and little less decline can be seen in the eastern part, which is close to the Ishamati border, where during the monsoon you can get some flow. That means freshwater starvation is one of the reasons for the gradual decline of health in the Sundarban man. With that, there is a change in the species composition of mangroves. The species is like Heritera or Sunracea, which are favored. This is done by a very sophisticated work of Avidis NG and mapping with in mangrove islands with our handle spectroradiometer by Sudeep Manna, who has also created a mangrove hyperspectral library for mangrove. And also the core area and buffer areas, soil salinity vis-a-vis species relationship establishment with the WWF for having a data and published it also. With that data of camera trapping, so we could find that these Agilites or Heritera Sonarachia area is declining by say 30 square kilometer area in these 20 years. Whereas the Avicennia, Cereops or Exocaria who can tolerate up to any kind of salinity that is available in the deltaic system, maximum, they are thriving quietly. They are increasing in area, they are increasing in density, and I mean that clearly indicates that salinity increase is a major cause of the deterioration of health in man. So what can we do for it? That is another important question. Here also, again, I will be banking upon Dr. Bhadra's thesis and his publications that were mentioned, the Bhadra and ASDA 2014 and ASDA 2024, that if we could connect these rivers and we can mend the disconnected areas and can bring fresh water from the source to the mangrove, I think we will be able to reverse it. The rivers, we could reverse the degradation of the man. So this is one proposition, but I'm very happy after retirement that now we can join experiments. I can plan experiments without actually appealing to national or international waiting bodies so that to get a project or not. There's some exotic work that we have did. We'll just quickly present now here. This is the island called Dhonchi Island. We have mapped the island with very high resolution coastal GM other data. And we have these are the yellow are the places of saline blanks and the green are the patches of mangroves. We have selected a patch where we thought that we will supply fresh water to the mangroves and we will see what happens. We could have failed. First, we failed in the drilling of the well. My God, it is 1300 feet, and it took 4 attempts to drill and reach to the freshwater reserve. Within this Dhonchi Island, we have selected a place and drilled a well, set up a solar power unit and a pump to supply fresh water to the mangroves from this well. You can see a new species here. We also thought that we'll be improving on the biodiversity. So we did a grid type of thing, and these northwestern part are the two control area, and these four are our experimental site where we supply fresh water from the well, and we'll be every month we'll be measuring the soil salinity up to at different depth up to 40 centimeter, and we'll be measuring the tree height, tree guard, the density of the trees, whether they are increasing or decreasing, like that. So that is the experiment which went on for a year or so, and we can come up with a very new data that survival rate from the control to the experimental site where we have supplied fresh water has increased up to, say, 100% for Serium sticandra as well as Agilitis. These are the two species we are observing. And for all the saplings, the height has increased, and average tree heights also increased from in the experimental sites. And that is considerable increase. So that is one. And average tree height at the first branching, it has also decreased in every year. So it is maturing and branching early. So we'll have a much better canopy. And average tree girth at the first branching has also increased in every cases except for exocarya. Exocarya is behaving different, and the supply, I mean, control, it is much better in the control rather than the freshwater supplied zone. So these are our first observation. It is a paper in progress. So I think we'll be able to give much more details in the paper. And this is the next, I mean, thing that see the leaves of this area that were like this in the initial stage. And now the leaves are quite bigger. So I think that this experiment will lead a great way and support our hypothesis that if we supply fresh water to Sundarban, not by submersible pumps, but by river water, we can even see some heritaria forms in the core area flourishing and thriving. So this is one. And the other is, of course, very well known to you. This paper has come up as a living shoreline paper in sustainability in 2025. I think some of you have seen it, but there's no harm in seeing it again. Can you see it? We're trying to follow a traditional knowledge. The river makes their own levee. So new blue carbon coming up. Very interestingly, these experiments now has been validated by our Department of Irrigations, and now they have written to WWF, Worldwide Fund for Nature, to do these kind of structures, to install such kind of structure in human habitated island, also in the erosion prone zones, and in definite areas they have marked. So that is a remarkable achievement. Of course, they will not supply the cost, but the cost has to be borne by us, the people, and other things. We have to ask for funding. We'll get it, of course. So this is one aspect that, and also we have already come up with a concept of uh, multi-tier erosion resistant structure with these terracotta rings. So I think that kind of thing we will be deploying now in habitated area of Satadaspur or Chipot, other eastern banks, Nobody thought areas. So I think that is going to be quite exciting for sustainability. If you can really make this area with supply of fresh water. And another interesting part that I would like to tell that already we have placed this proposition to the government, and our publications were also there about river reconnections. And now the last year, ADB and World Bank has taken up projects in Sundarban to make this river rejuvenation successful. So that is another area to be happy about mangroves. And this is the salt excretion, exclusion on the Tora leaves in Donchi Islands that is coming up to life now. The mangroves you can see in Donchi, and you can see the golden jackals also in our camera traps. So that are also the how, if you can, as Dr. Pandiselvam was telling, that is not only mangroves, then along with that, so all biodiversity, all mudskippers, even the crabs, the freshwater crabs, everything will come up in Sundarban if we can rejuvenate with little more sediments. 1100 cubic here and 25,000 cubic in Bangladesh is, not a balanced way to actually sustain the mangrove delta. So I think we need to renegotiate the water issue with people who have known Sundarban, who've known their crisis. And of course, I think that as things you are observing that something positive is coming up in different areas of the world as well as India. So let us hope that we'll be able to sustain the mangroves in Sundarbans and make it healthy again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for this informative presentation. I hope students have learned a lot from your presentation on mangrove health, and as well as about different innovative methods of coastal protections. So I'll request students and other participants.
Yeah,
if
you can
have
ask any question on Sundarban and mangroves and whatever, all these funny experiments that we did.
any question if you have.
Or what else we can do, you can suggest.
May I do a question?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry to interrupt.
please.
Yeah, actually, Professor, it was very interesting question. Just I was curious about one thing. I felt like this is the only problem we are facing in India, but globally, when we are working in other countries also, we came to know that same problem continues. Like whatever the samples which I take in the South India, like a Pichoram or Koringa, I'm taking the Abyssinia marina sample does not represent the same in Gujarat samples because they're totally different environment. But you
Yeah.
told like if when you bring the fresh water, that system is getting changed. But will it be applicable to other places in India? Like like I'm telling in Gujarat is very scarce of rain, or some places in South India, like a Tamil Nadu side, there's some places scatterly rains. Some places, those places will it be reproducible? I mean, extrapolate the things from this experiment.
These situations are different. Gujarat, we didn't have freshwater source as such to support the
Yes.
coastal vegetation.
Yes.
And in Sundarban, we had coastal freshwater supply through the rivers, but this has got delinked. So the point is different, but there are silts in the sediments, I mean silts in the river that we are trapping in the terracotta rings. We can try with terracotta rings in Gujarat. There is no harm in that because seawater is breaking the coastal sediments and bringing some silt and sands also in the coast. We have to observe first what is the major reason of not having enough mangroves in Gujarat that we did in Sundarban. Then we have to come up with the specific area specific solutions. But I think the terracotta ring as well as fresh water supply, these two aspects will also work in Gujarat, in Pichabaram or wherever, except for Andaman. Andaman, I have seen the, I mean, this thing, this rhizophora is climbing up the hills and try for any cracks they are getting that there is some freshwater flow and it is colonizing those areas. So I think these solutions will be different in different geographic and geologic situations. But overall, if we can supply the coastal mangroves with fresh water and some substrate for folding up the sedimentation so their propagules are not get eroded or their, I mean, they can have some silt accumulation around that, I think this situation will succeed.
Because I'm saying this is a problem not only in India, other places too. That's what I was very curious to me. But as you mentioned, like really virgin or high, healthy and tallest plants, I'm seeing everywhere in the islands only, rather than the
Yeah, I
land
think
side.
that is a different system. I think if you can study Great Nicobar, it is also different than I mean the
Exactly.
Andaman Islands.
Andaman.
The,
Yeah, yeah. From
the
Indra Point, there
rainforest
are
types are there. Yeah, the big
yes,
tall
yes,
trees are there, and that is a
exactly.
kind of Indonesian mangrove class.
And Professor, that was the thing. After that is a one time, 2004, after tsunami, also those mangoes degraded. But
Hmm,
again,
hmm.
when they planted, within 11 years, it is
It
reaching
came up
double the height.
fine,
Yeah, it
nice.
came
Yeah,
same
yeah,
height. That is a
yeah,
very wonderful news, actually. But we cannot imagine that kind of system in anywhere in the mainland India.
yeah. It is mostly to what I have developed. The model is for the deltaic area only, but
Yes,
I can check it if the I mean situation permits and my age permits, then I can check the Gujarat and eastern coast, other mangroves, particularly the. I think this same model can be applicable to Andhra, but
Uh, yeah, Andhra case it's okay because sometimes
yeah,
it's flooding and
yeah,
the monsoon. Then, but every occasionally two cyclones will hit every Rayalaseema, Odisha and Andhra every
mm,
year actually. So it
mm,
gives proper rain to them, I guess.
yeah. The rain is important, and we are observing. We have done a time series for different seasons and how the health
Yeah,
is changing in mangroves. That is definitely the rain is important. These 2 years, or this year or next year, maybe a
exactly.
problem with rain and having a problem with El Nino. But let's see how the mangroves thrive.
Thank you for thank you for the
Thank you
clarity.
very much.
Okay.
I'm
Sir,
not
my
getting this.
my question is again related to the height of mangroves. So, in Indian part of Sundarban, I have seen that Bhitarkanika mangroves are taller, much taller, and also in the
Yeah,
Bangladesh part, the mangroves are much taller. So, one not established, but one hypothesis is the salinity, because
that means the
the
more water they have receiving, so
yeah
they have
my
less salines.
yeah,
Yeah,
my question is I have also heard that the shear strength of soil, that is the sediment of Sundarban, is very fragile and it is erosion prone than the Bangladesh part or especially from Bhitarkanika. So they cannot hold the root of Indian Sundarban's mangrove cannot capable to hold taller trees. So, is there any scientific basis of this
Look,
myth?
as if without any data backup, it doesn't, I mean, it cannot be proven, and I cannot just comment on that.
Yeah, yeah,
But but look, the Mahanadi mangroves, that is the Bhitarkanika, they have a very limited transport. So if you have thinking about sand and silt, this is much more in the Mahanadi than in Sundarban, where it is mostly silt and clay in Bangladesh and India. And because they have a long transport of sediments.
yeah,
Okay. So it is bound to be smaller and more cohesive than in Vitarkanika, where it is having much bigger tree. So I don't think that this, proposition is correct. But
yeah,
anyway, I'm not making it a final comment like that. You can let us go and check with
yeah,
sediment samples and other things. No
yeah.
problem.
There might be multiple reasons, not only the
Yeah.
salinity, and it could happen that
And
the
think
salinity
about
is
the
the
human influence,
yeah,
particularly of the colonial times, that
yes,
they
yes,
have
Actually,
destroyed all the mangroves first,
there was a
killed the
less
tigers.
check dam.
yeah,
Less check dams were there in Mahanadi Delta compared to Sundarbans.
Except one or two.
Yeah.
Some sediments are more coming directly. Through Mahanadi and the and other things.
yes. Thank you, sir.
So great. Yeah, good discussion. Anything else?
Okay, in the
Dr.
chat box, we got a question.
Please tell me.
Shomik Ghosh want to ask, can organized ecotourism be planned to this project so that people can be made aware? It will help rise fund.
In Sundarban or in some other areas?
I think in Sundarban, he's asking.
Mm. Sundarban, the tourism what are being done is not ecotourism. It's tourism in ecologically sensitive areas. But nowadays we are not charging anything from the tourists. It seems the new government should start charging at least 500 rupees per boat that they are visiting. That huge number of tourists are visiting every day, having plastics and this, that, and also the religious tourism in Sagar, which is bringing maybe crores of people for a particular time. So ecotourism, the concept of ecotourism, if we really apply either in Andaman or in Sundarban, that will be helpful for the mangroves, and organize trips for that to make the people aware of ecotourism. Not only ecotourism is good for mangroves, so do that. Not like that. See the what is the how many people will come with a particular time? How many people you'll be allowing in a particular season, in a particular ecological hotspot, and what they are supposed to do. So these kind of do's and don'ts are to be planned in ecotourism. Will we burn the AC, run the AC or not? What will happen to the drinking water? What will happen to waste disposal? So these are all areas are coming under the umbrella of ecotourism. So if this is very good to think like that, if we can solve some problems with ecotourism. But I have seen that people are creating more problem than actually solving it. But we can always hope that this can be solved. So is it okay?
Thank you, sir, for this reply.
Mm.
And I think there's no more questions in the chat box.
Okay. Thank you
So,
very
on
much.
behalf of the Department of Geography, again, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to all esteemed speakers for sharing their valuable knowledge, experiences, and insights. And I'll request you to stay a few minutes for us, if possible. Now, I
Mhm.
request Mr. Shinchan Banerjee to share some of our field experiences with the participants and with the faculty members and also with the experts. So, Shinchan, are you there?
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So I
So
will start.
recently we visited the core. Recently means in last 2 or 3 years we visited the core forest of Indian Sundarbans for our project, which was funded by the DST Government of India. Myself with other faculty members and the students and the research scholars of the department. So Shinchon is one of the research scholars who visited the core field, core research forest with us, and he will be sharing our field experience, a short presentation of our field experience.
Sure.
And through this experience, we have learned a lot from the nature, and Shinton will share this experience with us.
But Shinton, is it rise up for a Andaman that your first photo?
Shinton,
Okay, carry on, carry on. It appears that I will walk through it.
Okay, okay. I think my mic was off.
Yeah.
Uh, yes, sir.
Carry on.
This is the photo from the Mandaman. So this is
Right.
just to, I mean, enhance the visual background. Nothing else.
Sure, sure. Please carry on.
Thank you, sir. So hope my screen is
Yeah, it is
visible.
visible. Screen is
Okay,
visible.
okay, okay, sir. Thank you. So first of all, thank you for to all the expert speakers and for joining with us in the World Mangrove Day and sharing their expert thoughts. So as we are in the last section of the session, so I will not make this presentation very long, but a interactive one. I will try my best. And this in this slide in this presentation, I will uh, not cover any scientific explanations or technical discussions, but I will only show you a journey from a lens of a researcher who has worked in the field. So what we have seen in the fields now. So nowadays, most of the studies are based on satellite images and remote sensing, but nothing can replace the feeling of being in the field and standing in those muddy boots and watching the tidal inundation that is happening. So I feel that the field experience is more essential for drawing any conclusion or analysis. So before I go further to the slides, so first let me introduce about the study area as Professor Hajra has already introduced about the study area. So I'm not going further into that. So this Sundarban Biosphere Reserves, uh, only not only the Sundarban Biosphere Reserve and all of the mangroves that are on the global scale protect us from the many kinds of events or the phenomena, and they also are responsible for sequestering a large amount of carbons. And also they stabilize the shore, I mean, by gathering the sediments and all. But due to various deforestation that is taking places on different parts of the world, but now in Sundarbans it is very restricted. And but in earlier, due to the British reforms, many of the deforestation has taken place, and it has been converted into inhabited lands. So these mangroves are still there, and they are being conserved in the Sundarban Biosphere Reserve. But one thing that I like to mention is that this Sundarban Biosphere Reserve, the organizations that are responsible for protecting it, I mean the Sundarban Tiger Reserve and also the Sundarban Biosphere Reserve, is more concerned about the tigers that are in the ecosystem. So because of the tigers, these mangroves are also getting protected, and have also been labeled as the UNESCO World Heritage Site, I mean the core forest of this region. So coming to the divisions in the Sundarban Biosphere Reserve, we actually divided into three zones: the wildlife sanctuaries and the reserve forest, as well as the national park. The UNESCO declared it as a World Heritage Site, as the national park region only, and all kinds of, restriction are imposed over here, and no persons are actually allowed to do any kind of activities over there, and only for researchers it is opened, and also for the persons that are living in the camps are there in the national park region. So, as we go on, we see a variety of the mangrove species that was discussed earlier in the Sundarbans region. So, there is Ajisaras, which is a very famous tree for honey collection, because the honey that came from this tree is very, very costly or very valuable, you must say. And then we see the Sonoraceae apitala, Rhizophora apiculata, Avicennia, Cereops, as well as Exocaria, and many more. I have just given a few of them in these slides. So, as we are going and observing, we observed a variety of things while going into the survey. We observed that where there is the tree Abyssinia or Sonoraceae, you may say. So, wherever there is the land that are having deposited plains, where the sediments gets deposited, we are seeing a patches of Abyssinia. So, the Abyssinias are, we do not find any Abyssinias where the land is actually eroding. So we had actually found the Abyssinias where the sediments are deposited. It is found only in the deposited plains. Whereas just in the opposite, the Exocaria and the Cereops are found in more stable land, and they are also very prone to erosion. And often, many of the researchers term these as degraded lands or destructed lands. So, on these lands, these Exocaria and Cereops are found, and they are very high salt tolerant species. And a few, arguments are also there that Exocaria may not be a true mangrove species. So, all these arguments come up, and I'm not going further into those details. But as we go on further, we see a large patch of Rhizophora. In the local name, we call it as Gorgon. And we have seen it near to the rivers or near to the tidal creeks. It is located very close to the rivers, and they have these long breathing roots. So, whenever who doesn't have any idea on the mangroves or seeing mangroves for the first times, I conceptualize the mangroves as these large breathing roots, and that comes from Rhizophora. And there is also the Nipa fruticans tree. So this Nipa fruticans tree, in the local name, they call it Golpata. And these are also considered as a freshwater species. They do not prefer the saline water, and they have a salt tolerant range. And so they are also found near to the river system where the freshwater are there. And the Agialitis, as Professor Hajra was talking about, is that Agialitis in local name we call it Toda, and this is the photo that we have taken from Lothian Island. So these species are also high salt tolerant species, and they happens to be, grow on the stable lands and that are not very near to the river and something like that. And there we observed patches of xylocarpus. So these xylocarpus actually don't occur in patches. We see the xylocarpus as more of a single tree. If you can see that this is the picture that we have taken from a watchtower of Burid Dabdi. And we have seen that there is large stands of exocaria all over the forest, and only single strands of xylocarpus mecongensis are there. They are called the pushu tree in the local name. So, as we continue our journey, we visited the Lothian Islands, that is very near to the Namkhana block, and it is very easily accessible from the Namkhana block. So, while we, went or enter into that camp, the Lothian Island camp, and we see a very large, a banner of Lothian Wildlife Sanctuary, that showing a diversity of the snakes that have been found in these islands. So a variety of the snakes are there at the front gate, and which often scares us that if we enter, that what will happen to us. And we also has a photo of a similar encounter of the photograph that we have took of one snake that is climbing the rope of a boat that has been attached to the camp. And you can see one photo. I don't know if I can annotate. Yeah. If you can see one photo of Dr. Bhadro standing in a narrow strip of land in the Lothian Island, and on one side of the land there is a dense patch of Abyssinia, and on the other side of the land you see a dense patch of Exocaria. So a species diversity is very much intense in Lothian Islands. So as we go on further with this narrow strip, we see a large trees of Cereops. So these are not Cereop tagal. It is this more of a it is the Cereops decandra. And while we are going in the navigations in the Lothian Islands, so in the navigation system in the Lothian Islands is consist of this narrow wooden bridge that we have to cross, and wherever a huge high tide came to this bridge get broken, and it is very rare to repair them because no one visits these islands. Only the one that have permission only can visit these islands. So we have to pass from one step to another by this wooden bridge, and wherever there is no bridge we cannot go or go to the muddy landscape. And then we have visited the Chulkadi Island. In the Chulkadi Island, this is located over this region. This is the Chulkadi Island. So when we are going uh, from Dhunchi to Chulkati and crossing this Thakuran River, so we see a large patch of this Rhizophora apiculata on the fringes of the Chulkati Islands. A large fringe, a large patch of Rhizophora apiculata. You can go and you can see that there is a large patch of Rhizophora apiculata you can observe over there. And as soon as we enter in the camp, there is a big danger. Sign that is provided that these are the associated danger if you don't follow the rules. And the local people go over there, they collect and honey and also various kinds to sustain their livelihoods and by breaking the rules. And this happens to them as many of the local as well as the forest official believes that Chulkadi Island has a lot of tiger population. So we couldn't find one. But as we went over the watchtower in the Chulkati Island, this is the biggest watchtower of the Sundarban, even bigger than the Sojnekali one. Almost a 4 to 5 story watchtower is there. So if you can go to the top of the watchtower, you can see this beautiful scenario of the rounded freshwater ponds from here. And they said that the tiger just came that morning, and we were there in the afternoon. And as we have to collect the samples from the natural environment and not from the artificial environment. So we have actually gone near to the sweet pond, guarded by the forest officials to collect the forest as well as the soil samples. And we see the huge tiger pug marks over there, as you can see in this image. So in the Kolosh and the Boni camp, that is northward of the northward of the Chulkati camp, is also there. And this Kolosh camp was earlier open for the tourist, but after the Amphan, it happens a lot of destruction, and the camp is permanently closed for the tourist, and it is only open for the researcher. You can see that Rupayon, one of my senior Dada, is standing over there in front of Kolosh camp. And while we are going towards the Boni camp, we also observed a few small patches of this Nipa fruticans over there. But a large patch of Phoenix paludosa, that is the Hetal, is been observed that while we are going towards the Boni camp from the Mathla river. And there is a large patch of Phoenix paludosa that we have observed. And as you can see in this image, that by this boat, we are actually going towards the forest to collect the soil samples. So, and we happens to land on this, this deposited land. and to collect the soil sample sediments and also for the freshwater species that are there, and also the water samples we have to take. Now, one interesting thing is that not many of us know that in front of Boni camp, not exactly in the Boni camp, in a few distance from the Boni camp, there is actually huge nursery. So this nursery is been recently developed, and there are various trees of that has been growing over there and restored over there. And and to visit the nursery, you need to go to these wooden stairs to visit the nursery, and it is very a good visual that you can get from the nursery, a large number of trees that you can observe. And these are the images that we are from the Sundarban National Park, from one camp called Bagmara. And while going to these camps are actually very isolated, from the main part of the Sundarbans, and the Bagmara is actually located over in the here in this region. And while we have gone to the Bagmara Islands, and these forest guards or the forest officials, that they were very happy to see a person, because they rarely see one in their entire year. And all sorts of communication of these forest guards are actually blocked because there is no network coverage in these zones, and they only need to communicate by radio communications to the senior officials to pass something to their families. And while going to the Bagmara beach, we observed many crocodiles over there. And one of the photo that you can see is a large crocodile that was, laying down. And you can see another photo of Rupanda that is collecting the samples. It is a plot near to the Bragmara, and they actually opened the nets, and we are being protected by the forest guards to actually visit these lands. These are very dangerous lands as the tiger roam over there, and we have to go to collect the samples from there. And this is one of the camps of Sundarbans that is very well equipped. We call it the Holdibari camp. And this Holdibari camp, if you can go, there is a large tunnel over there with nets on both sides. It is a big camp than the rest of the camps of the Sundarban National Park. And the watchtower is also very block. You can see one of our photos in the watchtowers. So we stood there for a long amount of time hoping to see a tiger, but we couldn't. And you can see a photo of my friend Roshan, who was trying to collect a core sample from the Holdibari camp, and he's having a very hard time to actually extract the soil sample from the land. And there is, you can see that we have gone beyond this net to collect the soil samples as well as some leaf samples for our analysis. And in most of the camps that we have visited, you can see that there is a temple of the bone baby which they worship, as they believe that this bone baby will protect them from the attacks of the tiger. And these are some of the field photographs and the analyses that we used to do while going to the Sundarban mangrove ecosystem. And as you can see, if you have ever visited or will visit in future, the mangroves, the daily lives of the mangroves is that when the high tide come, the almost the half of their trunk or the stem is actually submerged inside the water. But when the low tide or the extreme low tide happen, we can actually see their root structures, the buttress roots and everything. So that this daily, the daily life of the mangroves faces this extreme influx of saline water. So this saline water decides that which mangroves will stay and which mangroves will, go away. Making way for the saline water species. So one of the most surprising field observations that we have seen is that when we visited the camp on 13th December 2022, this is the camp of Horikhali, which is last point. If you can go from the Budi Dabri, Katuajuri, you will find a Horikhali camp. And you can see a large patch of the Sonaracia trees actually on the sides of the camp. There is a large and beautiful patch on 13th December 2022. But after 6 to 7 months, we only find only 3 to 4 trees that are only remains. And there is the patch is no more. And the similar observation we have seen near the Neti Thopani block while we are going. There is a khal called Bhagwan Bharani Khal. So in this Bhagwan Bharani Khal, there was large patch of Phoenix paludosum. But in the summer season, when we have gone in May, these patches have turned into the reddish or white color. So there may be various kinds of factors that may be affecting them. And in the Sundarban mangrove ecosystems, there is also a various kinds of factors that play a role. And the seasonal fluctuations also happen, as well as the phenology of the mangroves also change over time. So it is very difficult to draw a conclusion from this 6 to 7 months intervention, but it brings the necessity of the long term monitoring of the mangroves, that how these mangroves are changing over the time. And we can only observe that if we go to the field and if we see how in the field these mangrove ecosystems are actually changing and actually they are evolving over time. Okay, so that's all from my side, and I don't want to take much time. I will show one video of our field combined video that we made by Rupa and Shraddha. I will try to show the video, and I will just end this presentation from here. I hope.
Anyone wants to tell something, ask something?
Yes, if anyone has any questions, then you can ask them.
Any question? So first of all, thank you, Shinchan, for this informative presentation. So if anyone of you have any question, you can ask.
I have one little clarification that is not a question. So several times you said that deposited plant, isn't it?
Deposited planes.
Place.
Planes.
Plain.
Plains. Okay.
Planes.
Is it a technical term? I'm not a geology person, but
No, I mean is that in the deposited plains, we often refer to the land that are being deposited by the sediments. I mean,
Mud flats or
yeah, mud flats and something like that.
flats. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Positional
Thank you.
plane this time.
Thank you.
And yes, and if there is no more question, I will just share the video that has been created by Rupa and Shraddha. And I don't know if it is visible or not. Sound is also coming.
We are not getting,
is visible, but
not audible.
so I think you have to share the sound separately.
Okay, let me try once again.
Are you getting any sound sharing option over
Yeah.
there?
We are getting probably the sound, music kind of thing.
Sound is coming.
Yeah,
Yes,
now
yes.
we are getting.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Okay.
Thank you, Shinson, for sharing the video. We got another question in the chat box that is from Dr. Tulika Guho. So he want to ask how carbon sequestration can help the perspective of climate change.
Anirban may answer this.
So we have three carbon dioxide gases, which is mostly available in atmosphere. Those are carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. So the carbon dioxide can be sequestered for a long time using the biomass of this blue carbon, mangrove, seagrass, and salt marshes. So, if it's sequestered for a long time, like I told in my presentation, for thousands years or even millennia, then it cannot comes up in the atmosphere, and it will retain the greenhouse gas effect. That's the main the pathway in which the blue carbon helps. In summary.
Okay, thank you very much. Uh, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to each and every speaker for their valuable lectures. And now we'll conclude our today's sessions. But before that, we'll announce the result of map making competition. So before we announce the result of this competition, I would like to sincerely thank to all the judges, starting from Professor Abhishek Shatra, Dr. Mohit Kumar, and Dr. Sudeep Manna for their time, dedication, and thoughtful evaluation of these entries. The competition commenced on 20th July and concluded yesterday, receiving participants from Adamas University and also from outside Adamas University. We deeply appreciate the efforts of all judges in making the event a successful one. So now I'll request Dr. Abhishek Shatra to announce the result of the Mangrove Mapathon competition, that is Map for Mangrove. So Dr. Abhishek Shatra.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. Okay. I really feel happy to be a part of this session because I have learned so many things from my respected teacher, Professor Hajra, and my once friend and still friend, Anirban, and also my research scholar, Shinjon. In this Mapathan competition, we have received 12 participants' responses, and all of them have prepared beautifully different posters. But since we have to choose any one, so unanimously we have chosen Mr. Obhrojit De of Ashutosh College for securing this first position. So thank you, Obhrojit. I am showing you all the slides what Obhrojit prepared. So let me share my screen. Yeah, is my screen visible?
Mm.
Zoom out करो. Okay.
So you can change the slides quickly and
Okay.
it is visible, yeah.
this is all about this presentation. So thank you very much, Abrojit, for preparing such a nice presentation. And you have secured the first position in this matter.
So thank you, sir, for declaring the result, and also congratulations, Avrojit, for securing first position. We will shortly contact you, and we will share the license of ArcGIS Pro, as it is the first prize of this competition. So, with this, we'd like to conclude today's session, and as a conclusion, I can say that conserving mangrove is not just a responsibility of the scientists or policymakers, but it is a shared responsibility of every one of us. So every mangrove we protect and every sapling we plant today is an investment in a safer, greener, or more climate resilient future. So thank you again for all who joined the webinar, all invited speaker, faculty members, and the students for making the event a successful one. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you for inviting.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.